devotees, bright-faced, with such nice tilak, and all, in dhoti, kurta. It is so important. Prabhupada told us that if you want to take up something seriously, you should wear the uniform for it. When you wear dhoti kurta, you find that you somehow feel that you have to behave yourself. Isn't it true? If you wear dhoti kurta, you won't go to the cinema, isn't it? You'll be a bit careful. If you wear dhoti kurta and you're walking, you won't go to the bar. But if you wear some other clothes and someone else is with you, you may think, what's the harm? I just walk into the cinema, no one is there, it's alright. So you see, these things look external, but they actually help us. So the morning program appears like an external program, right? It looks like it's something like a ritual. But actually Srila Prabhupada instituted the morning program because in the morning, during Brahma Muhurta period, and generally in the morning, our mode is in the mode of goodness. And if we are in sattvic mode, it is much easier to start your sadhana during that time. I'm sure you find that when you chant your rounds in the morning, it's very different from chanting in the night. By night time, you are very tired. Most of you are studying. All are studying, right? Or some are working also? Some are working, yeah. So whether you work, whether you study, as long as you touch material energy, you'll always be tired. And by the time you come back home, your minds are not very peaceful. So that's why Srila Prabhupada decided that we have to follow the parampara. And the parampara is that we start our devotional service in the morning. So morning program that Srila Prabhupada gave is not something he took from the air. It is coming from parampara. All the acharyas did morning programs. Not that one acharya did evening, one did in the afternoon. No, they all did morning. Because morning is Brahma Muhurta. Brahma Muhurta period is very good. Even if you can't do morning program very early, say you are all working or you're studying, 4:30 in the morning can be difficult. It can be sometimes difficult. Of course, if you can go temple at 4:30, it's good. If you can wake up at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, it's very good. But if you can't, at least 5 o'clock, 5:30, that time you should still be able to wake up. But for you to wake up for morning program, you have to sleep early. And that is the big challenge, isn't it? I'm seeing you shaking your head, so. In today's age, the big challenge is not waking up early. But the real challenge is what happens before that. How many of you need 6 hours sleep? Okay. How many need 7 hours sleep? How many need 8 hours sleep? Okay. And anyone else need 9 hours sleep? No. Okay. Actually, normally between 6 to 7 hours is quite normal. You must get rest. It's very important, Prabhus. You must get rest. Sometimes people say, that it's okay, I just sleep for 3 hours, I will stay up till midnight, 1 a.m. and then after that I'll wake up at 5. But after a while you'll find that you get very tired. Isn't it true? You get very tired. And when you get tired, you'll fall sick. When you fall sick, your mind will tell you, today I'm sick. Why to wake up for Mangala Aarti? Then the next day your mind will tell you, see, you're still sick. Don't wake up today. Then third day will come, the mind will say, 2 days you have rest. But what happens if you are not completely rested? Take 1 more day. Like that, every day when you want to wake up in the morning, the mind will give you the favorable arguments why you should not wake up. See, last night I had to stay up. I did so much work, I need my own time to relax. I can't sleep immediately. I need to do some relaxing things. But the problem is, the longer you stay up in the night, the more chances are you will miss the morning program. And even if you don't miss the morning program and you wake up, you'll be fighting with sleep. Right? You'll chant Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, and then you go. Or you will chant, you'll be singing and I have known devotees standing up, they are going to sleep. Just standing and then just go and sleep. Because they're very tired, you see. So, one thing I can share with you, your morning program will never be successful if you don't control your senses in the night. If you don't control your senses in the night, morning is not going to happen. That you have to accept. And it doesn't matter whether you are in temple or whether you are outside temple. In both situations, if you don't control your mind in the night, and if you don't settle down, it is very difficult. And very often, because the reason why we can't sleep early is not because we have so many things to do, but because we are just basically relaxing. Sometimes we go and lie down at 10 o'clock in the night and we say we are just going to sleep. Then we take out the phone, then we go through, we look here, we look there. Sometimes we read, sometimes we talk to each other. Sometimes we are so engrossed in some material idea, it keeps running in the mind. So then how to stop this? That's why scriptures tell us that if your chanting is strong, and if you chant before you sleep. How many of you chant one mala before you sleep? Do you know by chanting one mala before you sleep, Srila Prabhupada once said, Krishna is so kind, he accepts as if you are chanting through the night. It's bonus. It is a bonus. How many of you read some Srila Prabhupada's book before you sleep? What books do you read, Prabhu? Bhagavad Gita? Anyone else? Any other books? Bhagavad Gita? Krishna book, right? Yeah. Krishna book is easy, not too much heavy, because it's just like story also, right? Two things you can do, I would share with you, which are very helpful in the night. For me, all these years I find very helpful. Before I sleep, I chant one round. And that one round I chant very slowly, very carefully, because I want to be able to concentrate on the holy name. And then I read 1 or 2 pages of Krishna book. And Krishna book is very nice because the chapters are not very long. Hardly 2-3 pages, one chapter is finished. And it is not heavy on the mind, Sometimes if you read shlokas and all, you have to study it. But in the night, your mind is not ready to study. Your mind wants something relaxing, some story. So sometimes Krishna book is very helpful. So generally, I read Krishna book like 2-3 pages, and I chant one round of Mahamantra. You can sit, you can walk, it doesn't matter. But the point is, you have now fixed your consciousness at the lotus feet of Krishna before you sleep. That is very important. When you do that, you will find that your tendency to just lie down and let the mind run around is reduced. Otherwise, when you lie down, the tendency to think of so many things is there. Because you have gone outside to the world, isn't it? You have seen so many things. And whatever you see, the mind will process in the night. And whatever you tell your mind, don't think of that. That is exactly what the mind will think of. Isn't it? If I ask you now, for 1 minute, nobody should think of pink elephants. Your mind immediately will say, now I have to think of pink elephants. It's natural, because it is the nature of the mind. So don't blame the mind, Prabhus. Don't blame the mind. Mind's nature is chanchal. Whatever you do, mind is always going to be restless. It is the function of the mind. Who then should you blame? You should blame yourself. Don't blame your mind. If you have determination to wake up for Krishna, and if you chant one round of Krishna's name, or you read Krishna book, or do both, you just see the difference. The chances are you will sleep much better. And if you sleep well, morning Mangala Arati, you will wake up. If the last thing you think before you sleep is Krishna, the first thing you will think of in the morning when you wake up will be Krishna. It will really help. So there's no harm. You can try it and see what happens. And in the morning program, the mood of the devotee should be very sattvic. In other words, we should be very prepared when we start the morning program to understand what we are doing. What time is your morning program here? 4:30, yeah? 4:15. That's very good timing. So what time do you all wake up then? 4? 3:30? 3:30? Anyone wakes up earlier to chant your rounds?
It varies.
It varies, right? Some are, so it's all staggered, huh? So whoever has time, they wake up earlier, and then others who are later, okay. No, that's very good. So according to whatever time you can, right, you do the morning program.
Most of them they wake up by 5.
By 5:05. Yeah, so 5:15 is very good. What time do you normally have to go to school, to work, for example? 8? Okay, very good. Now, I have another question for you. Like if you wake up from morning program and you have very fine, and then after that, after 1-2 hours before you go to work, you become very sleepy. Does it happen?
Yes.
It does, right? Huh? That is the most difficult part, isn't it? So what do you do then? What do you do? Tolerate. I like that. This is devotee. Who say tolerate? Yeah, there are only 2 ways you have to do. Either you succumb or you tolerate, right? But there are also other ways to do this. Sometimes what I do, I can share with you what I do. I try to wake up about say 3 o'clock or 2:30, 2:45. And then what I do is I try to chant most of my rounds in the morning, before Mangalarti. If I can do about 8-10 rounds, that's good. Then we have Mangalarti. After Mangalarti, it will finish in about half an hour. Then because I've woken up early, I only have 4 to 6 more rounds to chant. So I don't have so many rounds after Mangalarti because I've woken up earlier. But after that, what happens is, around say 6:30 maybe, because I've woken up early, what I do is I take a short nap. Because I'm tired, I take a short nap of about half an hour. Once I take that short nap, I'm fresh. I go take bath again. And then I read a little bit of Bhagavatam. And then by about 7 something, 8, I'm ready to go to work. Then I go to work. So sometimes, if you feel a bit tired, you first do the morning program. And then you just take a short nap. But you must be disciplined about it. Problem is sometimes the nap becomes long sleep, then finish. Right? You have to be disciplined. But you must also take care of the body. So a little bit of a nap is not difficult. If you can tolerate, good, you go ahead. But my experience is when you tolerate because you have not slept properly in the night, then by afternoon you're very tired. You can't concentrate very well. If you have the facility to take a short nap in the afternoon, it's okay. But not everyone will have that. So it becomes difficult. So do one thing. Always remember, the night before is very important, Prabhus. The faster you go to sleep, the more peaceful you will be. If you chant before you sleep, Krishna will ensure that your mind will be in His consciousness. You will sleep very deeply, very, very nicely. Krishna's name is so powerful that if you want to do something for Krishna, Krishna will always reciprocate. Always. Yayata mam prapadyante tam sataiva bhajami aham. He will always reciprocate. But you must make the effort. In Bhagavatam, this effort is known as granatascha swacheštitam. Swacheštitam means seriously by your own endeavor. The more serious you are about the morning program, the more serious the morning program is to you. You see the point? The less serious you are about morning program, then the morning program will go away. You will try to do something, but it will not be very effective. You see the point? So please remember, the morning program is non-different from Krishna. Every time you sing Krishna's names, every time you perform Arati, it is non-different from Krishna. That is why the morning program has potency. It is in the right mode, Sattvic. It is actually, you are touching Krishna. It is known in Bhagavatam as Brahma Sparshanam. Every time you chant Krishna's names, you are actually touching Krishna. In Dhruva Maharaj's prayers, Dhruva Maharaj, he was chanting a lot of prayers. And then remember, he went into great austerity. Then what happened? After a long time, he could see the vision of the Lord in his heart. And after that, what happened? Then he lost the vision. Then he opened his eyes. And to his surprise, who did he see? He actually saw Krishna in his four-arm form. And he didn't know what to do. Because even though he was very powerful in austerity, he was a young boy. He didn't have the power of praising Krishna. So then Krishna did one thing. As Lord Vishnu, he took his conch shell and he just touched Dhruva. And that touch is known in Bhagavatam as Brahma Sparshana, which is a touch of Krishna. The moment he touched Dhruva, Dhruva first was like living dead. His senses were very dull. He was not knowing what he was doing. But the moment Krishna touched him, he became alive. Yonta pravishya mamavacha mimam prasuptam sanjivayati akila sakti dharaswadhamna. This sanjivayati, this is the touch of Krishna. So when you are touched by Krishna, then Krishna will wake you up. So the morning program is Krishna, non-different from Krishna. Just like reading Bhagavatam is non-different from Krishna. Chanting Krishna's names is non-different from Krishna. So if you do it that way, then Krishna will give you the strength. He will give you the strength to wake up at the right time, to go to sleep at the right time. So we must have faith in the morning program. That is my point. You must have faith that the morning program is non-different from Krishna. Sometimes people tell me, but Prabhu, when the alarm clock goes off, I'm not enthusiastic to wake up. I can tell you one thing. I have not met anyone who is enthusiastic to wake up. I've never met anyone. I've even asked sadhus. I say, Maharaj, do you jump out of bed at 3:30? Maharaj said, no, I'm dragging myself out of bed at 3:30. Because the nature of the world is, it is difficult. But who said that spiritual life should be easy? It is a false assumption. Prabhupada said, if you want diamonds, you have to pay for it. Isn't it? If you want gold, it's cheaper. But diamond is more valuable. Prabhupada said, whatever in this world that is valuable always takes time to mature. In a letter, Prabhupada said this. Whatever that's valuable in this world always takes time to mature. A fruit doesn't mature overnight. Mango does not mature overnight. It takes time. But when it becomes ripe, it is really worth the time, isn't it? Nothing like sweet mango. So even your devotional service is like that. It will take time. But don't become discouraged. Don't become morose. That, I'm doing so much, but I don't feel any taste. At the right time, taste will come. You are not doing Krishna consciousness because to get the taste. You are doing Krishna consciousness to please Krishna. When you please Krishna, you will get the taste. You see the difference? If you go to temple because you want to please yourself, that is wrong. Go to temple to glorify Krishna. If I came here because I want all your praise, then it is wrong. I am coming here to glorify Krishna. So morning program is the ultimate opportunity to glorify the Lord. That is the ultimate opportunity. And it's the first thing you do in the morning. So don't miss this chance. Please, don't miss this chance. Are there any questions on this point? I want to keep it open. If you have something in mind, some doubt. Yes, Prabhu.
We should not expect taste. Unless we have some taste, how can we overcome?
Again, for the benefit of others.
Unless we have some taste, how can we overcome the older bad habits or older things?
In the beginning, when you start something, almost 100% when you start kirtan, and when you start chanting, when you wake up in the morning, chances are, Prabhu, you won't have so much taste. Because it's beginning. But you have faith. Isn't it? You have faith. So even if you don't have taste, if you have faith, you will start the process. And because you have faith, and depending on how much faith you have, the more taste will come. So there's a very strong link between faith and taste. So it is not that you have to wait for taste to come to continue. In the beginning, no one has taste. But we have faith. We see the brahmachari is doing so nicely. So we are attracted and we have faith that if it works for them, it must work for us. Now all of you are sitting in this building because of your faith. What is this faith in? It's not that you are having faith in Krishna. Somehow you are having faith that this building engineer has calculated the weight load and the building is not going to collapse because 50 people are here. You have faith. When you go in the car and you are told which pedal to press, you press the pedal because you have learned that if I press right, it's for the accelerator, press middle, it's for the brake. You've never tried it, but you have faith on the knowledge. and you act on it. So Prabhupada gave a very beautiful definition of faith. Faith means to act with knowledge. To act with knowledge. That is faith. So now you are reading from Shastras. Whatever you read, you act on it. Apply it. Test it. When you test it, you will taste it. You see the point? Whatever that you test in Krishna consciousness, you will be able to taste. But if you don't test it, because you don't have faith, then nothing will move. Nothing will move. You see the point, Prabhu? Is it useful? Is it helpful? Any other questions? Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, you told before sleep you can chant rounds or read Krishna book. So Prabhuji, what currently I am hearing lectures. So what is your view on that?
That means you hear a lecture before you sleep? Perfectly fine. It's fine. I mean, if you're hearing the lecture and the lecture is about Krishna, that's the same thing. But if you are not inclined to hearing a lecture and you want to read, please read. And if you feel you want to hear the holy name before you sleep, then please do it. Some spiritual activity must be there before you sleep. Of course, you can take prasadam, that's a spiritual activity, but too much prasadam in the night is also a problem, isn't it? Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji, and I will try to chant one round.
Try. It may work. You will find it very powerful. Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, you told the whole schedule. I may follow this schedule for 3 days, 4 days, and later mind will say, perfect, you have done nice work, now take a break. And then it collapses.
Yeah.
So continuity and discipline is important.
Yeah.
So how should we?
Very, very good point. The mind will tell you at some point that you are doing enough bhakti. Now you apply for annual leave. Take your time now, take a few days off, I deserve it because I'm working so hard. Mind will tell you that. But you must use intelligence. Shastras tell us that when your mind is misguided, intelligence should guide it. And you're all very intelligent. I can see from your faces, your sadhana is nice, it shows, your tejas is there. Right? You can't hide these things. If your face is dull, your sadhana is dull. You can tell. Right? But my point is that when your mind tells you to do something which is not Krishna conscious, you have enough knowledge to know that you should not listen to the mind. Use your intelligence and tell the mind. Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, Manaha Siksha. Right? Preach to your mind. Preach to your mind using intelligence. That mind, what you're telling me is not true. Because you want me to stop bhakti. And then deepen your faith to say how much you value bhakti. If you really value bhakti, when the mind tells you not to do something, you will override it. Because I value it. If you love someone and someone comes and tells you bad things about that person, if you really love the person, you will say, whether it's bad or not, love is love. Let me find that out later. But my feelings will not change. So whether mind tells you to stop or not, our feelings for Krishna should never change. Krishna is Aham Sarvasya Prabhu. He is the source of all material and spiritual things. Krishna is our kind father. And Krishna is our whole and soul. So, no matter what the mind tells us, Prabhus, never leave Krishna. And if the mind tells you take 2-3 days break, right? Gently tell the mind, maybe you want to take break, but I don't want to take the break. You have to impose on the mind. The second thing that's very helpful is, when the mind gives you trouble, take sadhu sangha. In sadhu sangha, even if your mind gives you trouble, and you speak and reveal your mind to your friends, your fellow God brothers, your fellow friends, all of you here, or the seniors, when you take their sangha in this way and say, I'm having trouble, they will pray for you. They will also guide you and encourage you, don't give in. Sit with us and chant. If you are very tired, we'll turn on the alarm clock, we'll wake you up. In that way, in sadhu sangha, you can counter this problem of the mind. Is that helpful, Prabhu? The other thing that's very helpful to stop this mind is actually reading and studying Srila Prabhupada's books. If daily you are reading Bhagavatam, even half a shloka, 1 shloka, 2 pages, 3 pages, but it is daily, it is consistent, then the mind will be controlled. It has that power. That is the nature of the mind. You have Veda base here, right, with you? Just look for 5, 11, 17. 5, 11, 17 of Srimad Bhagavatam. And someone read to me the verse. Whenever you have problems with the mind, read this verse. It's a very powerful verse. 5, 11, 17. Anyone has it? Okay, just read to me the translation, Prabhu.
This uncontrolled mind.
Use the mic, sorry, yes.
This uncontrolled mind is the greatest enemy of the living entity.
Okay, stop. So now, this is a very important point, right? This is spoken by Jada Bharat to King Rahugana. And he's telling him now the conclusion of the chapter, last verse in this chapter. First thing he says, Prabhu, is this mind is the... it's here, okay, good. This mind is the greatest enemy of the living entity. So this we should accept. Mind is not your friend, right? By default, mind will tell you, don't do devotional service. The second point is very important. If you neglect it, or if you give it a chance, it will grow more and more powerful and will become victorious. So 2 things we should not do to the mind. Don't neglect it. Sometimes, we just let the mind go wherever it wants to. That means neglect. It will go, you may be sitting here now, all of you are looking at me, but only you know where your mind is. Right? You're looking at me, you're smiling, you're showing attention, everything. But only Krishna knows whether you are really here or you're outside. We don't know. Because you neglect your mind. You see the point? And if you give it a chance to grow, that means mind should always be somehow engaged. A mind that is engaged is a mind that is not neglected. Very important. Then what happens here? It is not factual. This is amazing. Huh? The mind actually is not factual. If you do an autopsy on your brain, and you cut your brain, and someone says, where's the mind? You can't point to the mind. There's nothing to point to. Because it has no factual basis. It is subtle. Imagine, something which you can't even touch or identify is 100 times more powerful than you. It's a very sobering thought, isn't it? So powerful actually. Can't do anything. If something in front, you can push it away. But you don't even know where it is. It's somewhere there. It is not factual, but it is very strong. Why is it strong? It covers the constitutional position of the soul. Now the solution is given very nicely here. O King, please try to conquer this mind by the weapon of service. This is the power of service. Service is a weapon. Service to who? Service to the spiritual master's lotus feet and the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So when we serve our spiritual master by following his instructions, and we serve Krishna, our mind will be controlled. This is the verdict of Bhagavatam. It is the verdict of Bhagavatam. Now look at the purport. Very short purport, but very interesting purport. Little bit, yeah, just see. There is one easy weapon with which the mind can be conquered. Disobedience. Very interesting, isn't it? Prabhupada is telling you that only if you disobey the mind can you conquer it. Because the mind will tell you so many things that you're not supposed to do. But you have to disobey it. The mind is always telling us to do this or that. Therefore, we should be very expert in disobeying the mind's orders. Normally, we don't tell people to disobey anybody's orders. The only order you should not obey is the mind. Now Prabhupada says, gradually the mind should be trained to obey the orders of the soul. That's who we are. It is not that one should obey the orders of the mind. Now Prabhupada gives a very interesting solution you may consider trying. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur used to say that to control the mind, one should beat it with shoes many times just after awakening and again before going to sleep. Prabhu, how do you want to implement this here? Then every night before we sleep, we have to add 2 things now. Now we chant, we read Krishna book, we hear lecture and keep one shoe next to us. If you want to make it more stronger, you can keep the shoe, but you get your friend to knock it on you. That is more painful actually, isn't it? It's more painful. So Prabhupada says here that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said that you should do that. Yeah, one can control these instructions. Yeah, many shoes and then going to sleep. In this way, one can control the mind. This is the instructions of all the sastras. If you don't control your mind, you are doomed to follow. If you don't do what is given, meaning that you actually control the mind by the weapon of devotional service to Guru, right, and to Krishna. If you don't do that, then you will follow the dictations of the mind. And Prabhupada says, abide strictly by the orders of the spiritual master, engage in the Lord's service. Then the mind is automatically controlled. This is the main part of the shloka. Is this helpful, Prabhus? Yes. Now you understand, right? It's very clear. This is the most powerful, clearest verse on how to control the mind. And if you have time, you study this whole 11th chapter. This 11th chapter is the shortest chapter in Bhagavatam, only 17 verses. But the whole chapter is dedicated to understand the nature of the mind. Every verse here is about the mind. So if you're studying the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, which is on the mind, then you should supplement it with this canto, this chapter, and you get the full understanding of the nature of the mind. Okay? Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhu.
So, Prabhu, when we are in the full association of devotees, our minds get in order with our soul's orders. Like many times.
In the association of devotees, right?
When we are fully, when we are serving in temple or in voice.
Yes.
But when we go outside in materialistic people, so our minds again become very random. Means it disobeys us and what we are suggesting to it.
Yes.
So how to cover it means in the association of non-devotees.
Yeah. You see, one thing you should accept. You can create an atmosphere as much as possible that you will be in the association of devotees. But you must also accept that you cannot always be in the association of devotees. It's a fact. You have to accept it. Those who don't accept it, they will find it difficult. Now, if you're not in the association of devotees, but you are doing nice sadhana, if you're reading, if you're chanting, and you're constantly determined, Prabhu, to continue the devotional service, even if you meet people who are outside of devotional service, by Krishna's mercy, you will be able to have an understanding that you are actually trying very hard to control your mind. You'll have an understanding. You will not forget that I am a devotee. That's very important. The reason you are telling me this now, or asking me this, is because it proves that when you're out there with the other persons, you are aware already that my mind is going to be disturbed. That is a good sign. It's a good sign. If you don't have that understanding or that awareness, that's a bad sign. Because it means, you don't care actually. But you are all worried. And when you're worried, you will be alert. You see the point? So you cannot expect 100% that your mind will be very peaceful when it's outside. If you can even try very hard to remember Krishna and tolerate the difficulties, that is victory already. That is victory already. Sometimes people expect that because I'm in voice, because I'm in temple, the moment I go out to the outside world, I'm walking around like sadhu. Nothing is touching me, nothing I can see, I'm floating in the air. It'll never happen. It is always going to be challenge of nature. Do you know one disciple of Prabhupada, Amarendra? He asked Prabhupada in Prabhupada Lilamrita, he asked one question. Prabhupada, we are chanting in the temple, but our minds are going. What should we do? And Prabhupada said, drag the mind back. And then he asked, what if we are going outside, book distribution, we see other people outside, we become disturbed by them, what do we do? Prabhupada said, drag the mind back. In other words, you must endeavor. That's why I told you at the beginning, Granatascha Swachestitam. This is from 284 of Srimad Bhagavatam. Shranavataha Shraddhaya Nityam, right? Kranatascha swachistitam kalena na atidirgena Bhagavan vishate hriddhi. In no time at all you will be able to see Krishna if you are constantly studying, hearing, reading Srimad Bhagavatam and putting your own endeavor with faith and devotion. So you cannot expect a utopian state of affairs when you're outside Prabhu. But you are aware that you are in the presence of Maya. Take more shelter of Krishna. You'll survive.
Thank you, Prji. And also, it happens that whatever this sometimes happens that whatever these material people try to enjoy by doing different means, we don't find it interesting anymore. So it is proof that Krishna has given us some taste.
Definitely. If you find that you have no interest to go and see a movie, you have no interest to sit down and have a drink somewhere, you don't want to just go out and do something, and you find that is not relaxing. What's relaxing is doing all these activities. It's a very good sign that Krishna has given you taste because you have faith. Is that helpful?
So means it is a progress in spiritual life.
It's always a progress. Always a progress. It's always a good sign of progress. One thing I'll tell you, I'll take your you can pass the mic down. He's put up his hand a few times. One thing I will tell you, don't ever be discouraged. Don't. When your life is difficult, even in devotional service, Krishna will test you. When you take up devotional service, Krishna will test you. See, that if there is a picture on the wall, or there is this is hanging on the wall, isn't it? Before you put it up, you will knock a nail. After you knock the nail, do you put up the picture? You don't. You test the nail. Always you test the nail. If you don't test the nail, that means you've never done this before. Right? You're hopeless. You're supposed to test the nail. So test the nail. When you test the nail, you are doing that to see whether it will hold the picture. That is what Krishna is doing to you when you are faced with Maya. He has already put the nail in your heart, but he's testing. Mayadevi is testing. Are you going to shake, or you're going to hold firm? Because he is going to put himself into your heart. He's going to frame himself into your heart. It's a serious thing, Prabhus. It's not a joke, Think about it. How valuable that is. So before Krishna does that, do you not think it is fair that he must test you? He must test you. And do you not want to pass the test? So be faithful. Don't be discouraged. Krishna's test is good for you. It's always good for you. Krishna will never do something which is bad for you. Anyone in the world may do that. But why should Krishna do something bad for you? He will never do that. So have faith. Very important. Never be discouraged. Never be morose. Oh, I've taken up devotional service. I'm not doing well. I don't have taste. Some people whole life they keep saying, I don't have taste, I don't have taste, I don't have taste. How long are you going to say you don't have taste? If you start having faith that taste is going to come, it will come, Prabhus. It will come. Have faith. Have you heard of the English phrase wet blanket? Wet blanket? A wet blanket, nobody wants to sleep on a wet blanket, isn't it? So don't be a wet blanket. Some people are very negative. Have you met such people? If you say, Prabhu, today is a very nice day, they'll say, no, today is bad day. Then you say, Prabhu, see, morning, it's so nice to wake up, Mangalati. Nah, why should I wake up? If you say, Prabhu, so nice to chant, really? Have you met such? You feel like strangling them, because everything that is positive, they will say something negative. So don't be a wet blanket in devotional service. Okay? If you are a wet blanket, I guarantee you, nobody will stay with you. After a while, everybody will leave you. Because no one wants to be discouraged, you see. Don't do that. Prabhu, you have a question.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. You're a lawyer by profession and practicing in Singapore, and you're handling all the legal matters of SCON internationally. And also you are preaching the message of Prabhupada all over the world. As a law student, how can I also be as helpful as you in spreading the message of Krishna consciousness and practicing law simultaneously?
So you're a law student?
Yes, ma'am.
Very good. I have some work in the law department. So please look me up at some point.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
The point is, everybody has their own ability to serve. So if you are determined, Prabhu, to serve, and you feel that Krishna, find me some opportunity to do service for you related to my work, He will give it to you. And now I've offered you opportunity for service. So you've answered the question. You see the point? Krishna can immediately reciprocate if He wants. He can. That is how He does. Right? So we should always have faith that actually, if we really want to, in any vocation that we are in, we can use that for Krishna. Anything that we have, we can use it for Krishna. And if you look at other devotees and you are inspired by them, then work hard for Krishna and follow in their footsteps. That is the best way to do it. So just continue your studies, be the best lawyer you can be, and use your services for Krishna. Arjuna was not told to go to cave to become Sadhu Baba. He was told, fight. Because your job scope is to fight. So fight. So if anybody else is in any other work, you please do that work. And for some reason, if you're ready to join the temple, that is also your work. Then take that seriously. In any situation in life, take that situation seriously. It's given to you by Krishna. Use it for Krishna. Some people ask me, but Prabhu, how will I know whether this is given to me? How will I know if this is the work for me? You're working already, isn't it? It's your work now. Whether you like it or not, you are there. So don't waste time and use it for Krishna. That is better. Is that helpful, Prabhu?
One question more, Prabhuji.
Sure.
And what's your approach to study Bhagavatam and the subjects of law, especially knowing that later one is tedious in nature?
Especially knowing that?
The latter one is tedious in nature. We know that the subjects of law are very tedious in nature, very moti books.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you one thing. If you study Bhagavatam daily, Bhagavatam will give you the potency to study any field of material science. Whether it is law, medicine. And if law is very demanding. You have to work very hard in law. But at the same time, you have to work harder in devotional service. So you have to manage your time properly. Which is my last point to all of you. Prabhus, if you want to really succeed in devotional service, there is the practical aspect of sleeping early. There's the practical aspect of remembering Krishna before you sleep. But there's also a very deep spiritual aspect of having faith in Krishna and making sure that you perform Mangala Arati in whatever capacity that you can, in a very loving and devotional manner. If you do that, the morning program will bless you. It will bless you. It will. And on the practical side, you must always be prepared to make adjustments in your material life so that you put Krishna first. That is very important. There must always be some adjustment. You cannot adjust Krishna to suit your life. You have to adjust your life to suit Krishna. Because He's supreme, you see. You're not. He's supreme. So you have to follow Him. If you are supreme, He'll follow you. But you are not. So the adjustment must come from your side. This is very important. You cannot sit back and say, why Krishna is putting me in this difficulty? What have you done for Krishna? That is very important, right? Remember President Kennedy had a famous statement, don't ask, right? Ask not what your nation can do for you. Ask what you can do for the nation. So we have the same principle. Don't keep asking what Krishna has to do for you. You should ask, what have you done for Krishna? That is very important. I have one more here. I'll just read it. Sometimes our academics gets affected and we consider it due to our spiritual practice, and some negative thoughts arise. How to manage and control it? Very good point. See, one thing that we should understand is this. You should never neglect your duties. You should not compromise your duties. If you have to be a student, you have to be the best student you can be. If you're going to be anything else, be the best you can be. You don't have to be super ambitious, but you should not be careless in your duties. You follow? You cannot be careless in your duty in the name of Shastra, in the name of devotional service. I'll just do it anyhow and get out because I'm sannyasi now. No. Right? You have to be expertly doing your work. At the same time, you must remember Krishna. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu. Mam anusmara yudhyacha. Krishna is very clear. 8.7 of Bhagavad Gita. Very clear. Right? You must fight. But at the same time. That's the key. Same time means you have to do both. He didn't say, now just do this once in a while, but do more bhakti for me. He didn't say that. He said, if you have a duty to do, you do it at the same time, which means it's almost equal. So this question is an important question. Sometimes, yes, if our studies are affected, we should seriously consider why. Our spiritual practice should not be disturbing our studies if we are performing our spiritual practice with quality. If we're doing it with quality, it should never be an obstacle to our studies. It's something we are doing in our own habits that is causing us problem in both spiritual life as well as our duties. You have to examine in your life what is the thing that is causing the difficulty. It will not be spiritual life. Unless you're a fanatic and you say, no, I don't want to do this at all. If you don't want to do this, then please go into brahmacharya ashram. Dedicate your life to Krishna. But don't put one leg here, one leg there and then blame both the boats. Don't blame anyone. You are putting your legs in two different things, right? So your duty is to balance it. Your duty is to balance. And remember, when you ride a bicycle, aren't you constantly balancing? Can anyone say you're riding bicycle and I'm completely in cruise mode? It never happens. It's a bicycle. You have to keep balancing. Spiritual life is like that. Living in this world is like that. It's like riding a bicycle. Constantly you have to balance. Little bit this side you must give, then little bit that side you must give, a little bit here, a little bit there. That's how you survive. Otherwise you can't. So there will be days when my work in law is heavier. I have to be ready. There will be days when I can do more devotional service. I will do more. But if the day is more for me to do law, I don't despise it. I don't become callous about it. I offer it to Krishna. So then my mind is peaceful because it is also spiritual. When you draw distinctions between this is matter and this is spirit, everything I do in law is Maya, then you're wasting your time because you have forgotten the principle of Yukta Vairagya, which means you can work and the product of that work you can use for Krishna. Why not? Why not? I'll tell you one story about myself. When I was 17 years old in Singapore, the temple president told all of us, we were all studying. Temple president told us all, you please give up everything, I'll bring you to the temple, you shave up and become full-time. Now in Singapore, the temple's position was very precarious, not like in India, because Singapore is not very favorable to Krishna consciousness. One day there could be a temple, tomorrow there could be no temple. It was like that. So we thought, what a nice thing, we'll shave up because this is the principle of life. We thought principle of life is just that. Then I remember one elderly sannyasi came and we came and sat before him and we all told him, Maharaj, we're all going to shave up. And Maharaj asked us, are you all studying? We said, yeah, we are coming close to the end, then we'll go for degree. Maharaj said, this is the most foolish thing I'm hearing from all of you. So we said, why? Maharaj said, if you study hard and you earn well, you will be more of a benefit to Krishna than if you just do this without any training, without any proper guidance, and without even having a plan. No plan. And years later, after I got my law degree, and years later when I practiced law, and years later when I started using my legal skills for ISKCON, I realized how valuable that advice was. Don't make your material activities distinct from spiritual activities. Spiritualize what is material with you now. Then you will find whole day you are absorbed in Krishna. That will be very important. Last question. What should be followed by that devotee who is staying at home where his parents are non-devotees, working devotee? What are things to keep in mind? Okay. So I'm assuming in this case the devotee is at home with his parents and they are non-devotees. It is of course going to be a challenge if they are non-devotees. But it also depends so much on your relationship with them. I know so many devotees who are staying with parents who are non-devotees, but who are successfully doing their sadhana, who are continuing very much in faith with Krishna, not fighting Mahabharat wars with the parents. Right? House is all Vrindavan atmosphere, no Kurukshetra. You know why? Because they please their parents. They are respectful of their parents. They are respectful that Krishna consciousness may be very nice to them, but it may not be, their parents may not be ready for Krishna. You see the point? Sometimes we become fanatical and we go around telling everyone it's either this way or the highway. If you tell this to your parents, either you'll get slapped or you'll be thrown out or you'll have Kurukshetra. Then even if you want to chant, you have just given ISKCON a bad name. You have lost your opportunity to chant peacefully. But if you are balanced as an individual, if you respect that they have their traditions, and don't forget, you grew up in that tradition also. Suddenly you are very high. This is all nonsense. And now I'm very high. Father and mother. I know one devotee, when he took up Krishna consciousness, second day he went home and told his parents, I declare to you, you're both in Maya. The father called me and fired me on the phone. He asked, where did you go? He said, I went to this temple. Then he said, who are you in touch with? Gave me my number. I never told him this. I never told him. And he told me, you told my son that we are in Maya and you're breaking up our family. Do you know how difficult it is? This boy did not realize that he had just killed himself. He has killed himself. Instead of doing this Maya thing, Maya that, isn't it better to be peaceful with your parents? If they are not very happy with your chanting, don't chant in front of them. You're all smart people, right? Find ways and means to chant. I used to chant before, when I used to close the door and I was studying. So I close the door and I chant. And I put my bead bag very near the drawer. And I'll chant. Mother opens the door, bead bag drops into the drawer closes. Mother was fine, I was fine. Today my mother is chanting. Today my father is chanting. Today my parents read Bhagavatam. They are very old now, 85, 83. They may not be initiated, but they are very, very, very loyal to Srila Prabhupada and ISKCON. Why? Because I respected them. If they told me to come to some Devi Puja, I went with them. Mother Durga is not going to kill you if you go and sit down there. She won't. She knows you're a devotee. What is wrong in respecting your parents? Right? After all, Devatas are much greater than all of us. What is wrong if our prayer to Mother Durga is, please make me a devotee? Your father and mother, they can't hear what you are praying, isn't it? They have no access to that. But you are standing before the Devata. What is the problem? My office in Singapore is next to a beautiful South Indian temple dedicated to Kartikeya. In Singapore, Kartikeya is very worshipped, amongst the Tamil community. So every morning before I go in, I take darshan, right? I pray to Lord Kartikeya that today I will use my faculties to remember Krishna. And sometimes, because temple is just downstairs, in the late morning, if I've done too much work, I'll just take my bead bag, I'll go in the temple, sit down, chant 1 or 2 rounds. Because I'm respectful, the temple priests are very happy. They say, come sit, you chant. Because for them, it doesn't matter. You are a pious person. So don't be fanatical. Very important. Everybody will say, my father is best. So your father is very good. Now you go to your neighbor and say, you know what? Your father is nice, but my father is better than yours. What will happen? So for us, we know we have the highest truth. But we don't have to knock everybody's head for that. We have to present the truth in such a loving manner, with such faith, that people will become inspired. So don't create trouble in the house. And don't have this notion just because they are non-devotees it's going to be very difficult. No. Some of the best devotees have grown up in non-devotee atmosphere. And they have made devotees of non-devotees. What is the problem? In Singapore, almost every family is living with a non-devotee family. But they're all coming to the temple. They're very respectful. Their parents come and say, very nice, I like what my son is doing. He's not drinking, he's not smoking. I like this. I'm drinking and smoking. I can't give up. But I like that my son has stopped smoking and drinking. You see? Which father wants actually to give bad habits to the children? They don't want. But there is a way to approach them, you see. You see my point, right? So please, always remember, Dhruva Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, did they walk around with ISKCON Live membership? In Bhagavatam, did they say, I'm live member? No, nothing they said. They just worshipped Krishna with devotion. That was enough. One last question. Oh, there's one more here. How you decided that you want to become Grihastha? I think it was very natural. When I was young already, I accepted that my tendency would be to settle down, have a family. I did not see it as a barrier because I read Srila Prabhupada's books and Prabhupada made it clear. In any situation, Mahaprabhu makes it clear. In any station of life, you can take up Krishna consciousness. And I met my wife when I was very young. We were in school actually. And I met her and she was very interested in Krishna consciousness. I introduced her to my spiritual master. And I told her, Maharaj, this girl is interested. And I feel if she's interested and if you think she's good, then I would like to settle down with her. Because then we will make a good team. So Maharaj gave us his blessings. And he helped to fix our marriage even. So it doesn't matter which ashram you're in. And it doesn't matter, where Krishna takes you. But the important thing is, are you remembering him? Right? Are you remembering him? In any station of life, are you remembering Krishna? Sometimes, we can be very proud of being humble. You heard of that? Prabhu, I'm nothing, I'm nothing, I'm nothing, I'm nothing, I'm nothing, I'm nothing. But in our hearts, we are something. Because we are nothing, It's very twisted, isn't it? Only lawyers will speak like this. But it is like that, so we have to be very careful. Ashrams don't make a difference, Prabhus. Whatever that suits you and makes you remember Krishna, you please do it. That's all, right? If you can maintain brahmachari ashram, all the better. And if you find in your life your disposition is not suited for that, Shastras also give you the allowance to do it. That's not the important consideration. The important consideration is, can you remember Krishna? If you think Grihastha life is very complicated, I cannot remember Krishna, don't get into Grihastha life. That's it. If you think I can manage Grihastha life because I can't control my senses so well, I need to continue with it, but I want Krishna, then do it. Right? Krishna is like that. He's like that. But don't be half-half. Today I'm brahmachari, tomorrow I'm Grihastha, then when I like it I'm vanaprastha. Right? That is not the way. I had a god brother. He was telling my Guru Maharaj, I am going to be pakka brahmachari. Then one day, he decided, I can't control my senses, I want to get married. So my Guru Maharaj fixed a marriage with another devotee. First day they are sitting, and the lady came, the wife came, and just asked him to come and have dinner. She put the hand on the shoulder, come and have dinner. He shouted, don't touch me. And he called my Guru Maharaj from London. And Maharaj said, why, what happened? Maharaj, she touched my shoulder. Maharaj said, man, you're married. Before that, right, you were hopping on one leg to get married. Now suddenly in Grihastha ashram you became brahmachari. You see the point, Prabhus? These are designations in the end. Are we remembering Krishna? That is the key. From any position of life, the beauty of Krishna consciousness, you can remember Krishna. How to read Srila Prabhupada's book scrutinizingly? Two ways. One is to read together. Right? I'm sure you all read. You have programs to read together. Read together. Discuss it. The second thing I find very useful is, every time I read, say, Bhagavatam, I always have a notebook with me. I have two kinds of reading. One reading is a reading where I'm systematically studying Bhagavatam. That's daily. Then as I'm reading, there will be one verse, one part of the purport that's very nice. That one I will take out and I'll put in my notebook. And that shloka, that verse I will study. Sometimes you'll find a verse or shloka in Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita that just strikes your heart. That is shloka meant for you from Krishna. Study it, read it, sing it, chant it. Now when you make notes like this, then every week go through your notes. And you'll find all these realizations are so wonderful to keep you fixed with Srila Prabhupada. Then at the same time you should study shlokas. And not just study shlokas to parrot shlokas or like a pandit. You should study it to understand the meaning of the shloka, the purport, and the practical points of it. So then what you do is, every week you also recite the shlokas. You can recite them while bathing, while shaving. My Guru Maharaj used to read, he would wake up at 2:30 in the morning and he would start shaving. Now the moment he started shaving, right, first chapter Bhagavad Gita, and he's so fast. Then by the time he finished shaving, second chapter is finished. Then by the time he gets ready to take bath, third, fourth chapters he is chanting. By the time he comes out and gets ready, because he was old, he took some time, he would be up to 8, 9 chapter. So when we were serving him, we would keep the Bhagavad Gita and see which shloka is he going, which shloka is he going, which shloka is he going. But my point is, when you study your shlokas well, in difficult times, these shlokas will come to you. They will come to you. Very, very important point. Can you go to 8th canto, first chapter? No, 8th canto, 831, I think. Gajendra? Evam, yeah, this is the one, Prabhu. Can you go all the way down? The purport? Okay, just a little higher. Sorry. Okay, one there. Yeah. Therefore, we should not forget. Where is it? Therefore, just down here. We should not forget the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra under any circumstances. It will help us in the greatest danger as we find in the life of Gajendra. Now you just go up a little bit more. Go up some more. Some more. Yeah, a little bit more. Okay, here. Yeah. See this here? Huh? A little bit more, sorry. It is imperative, therefore, that all devotees in Krishna consciousness practice chanting some mantra. Certainly one should chant Hare Krishna mantra. And also one should practice chanting Chintamani, Prakara Satmasu or Narasingha Stotra. Every devotee should practice in order to chant some mantra perfectly, so that even though he may be imperfect in spiritual consciousness in his life, in his next life he will not forget Krishna, even if he becomes an animal. It's very clear, isn't it? Very clear. Some people read this and tell me, Prabhu, that means Prabhupada is saying, confirm next life you'll become animal. No, that's not what he's saying. He's saying, in case you miss the bus, there's a second bus, right? You can still chant Krishna's names, right? So that is how you study Srila Prabhupada's books. Should we bother about astrology if they said something positive or negative about us? This one is very interesting. I'll tell you one thing from my understanding. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was an expert astrologer. But he also declared that in Kali Yuga, there are not many of these expert bona fide astrologers already. Because you have to be a devotee to be astrologer. In our ISKCON movement, we are quite lucky. There are some devotees we know who are very good. Bhanu Maharaj, for example, is expert. Anyone who goes to Bhanu Maharaj and asks Maharaj, can you check for me? In half a day, he will give you everything. But the point that Srila Prabhupada wanted to emphasize on us is, don't become dependent on astrology. Always be dependent on Krishna. If you depend on astrology, then your faith in Krishna is not as high as your faith in astrology. We are not in International Society for Astrology Consciousness. We are in the business of being Krishna conscious. Astrology may be good here and there, but do we not have faith that ultimately, if Krishna wants something auspicious to happen to us at an inauspicious moment, he will create auspiciousness? The Maha Mantra creates auspiciousness. Do you know that when Krishna came into this world and appeared in this world, actually all the stars and the constellations were not auspicious. But when Krishna came, they lined up and they all became auspicious. So this tells us very important point, that if you have Krishna, everything else becomes auspicious. And if supposing someone tells you, Prabhu, your time is really bad, then let it be bad. If you have Krishna, Krishna will give you the strength to face the bad times. Why do we think that if we are born in Krishna, born in this material world, and if we are devotees, bad things cannot happen to us? Why do we think that? Bad things will happen to us. We also have our karmas, isn't it? Now the fans just, either the power went off or the power went off. But fan is moving. So you may have stopped your sinful activities, but the results are still going on. We have to accept it, Prabhus. We have to accept it. In expectation, there is anxiety. But in acceptance, there is peace. The moment you stop your expectation, immediately you become peaceful. But if you keep expecting, I've taken up Krishna consciousness, I must get married, the wife must be good, I must go into brahmachari ashram, I will be a very good brahmachari, I will get good money, I'll get this, I'll get that. I get very scared when devotees come and ask them, Prabhu, how is your life going? Very good, Prabhu, my job is nice, I just got a promotion, I bought a new car. I'm very scared when I hear that. Because it's all wrong, you see. Is that the value and measure of a successful life? So astrology may be useful from time to time. Some people say, Prabhu, you're going through a bad time. What is the solution to that? Chant more. Now, if you didn't know you're going through bad time, what is the solution anyway if you're in difficulty? Same thing, isn't it? You have to chant also. So whether you know or you don't know, it's all right. I remember one disciple of my Guru Maharaj, one time my Guru Maharaj asked him this question, why you are not following my instruction? Every time I tell you to do A, you're doing B. And you know what he told my Guru Maharaj? He said, Maharaj, I checked my astrology. My time is so bad. Whatever you tell me, I will not obey. It's not my fault, Guru Maharaj. It's the stars. Thank you, Prabhus. That's all I think I have time for. I probably can do some kirtan for 5 minutes. Shall we do kirtan? And then we wrap up. I love all your questions. It shows how dedicated and sincere you all are. Please, one thing I will tell you. Always smile and be happy in Krishna consciousness. Don't be moros. Don't be moros. You have nothing to lose, Prabhus. You're all not here by accident. You're all here by arrangement. Never think you are here by accident. You're under the supreme control and shelter of their lordships. Anything that happens to you now is actually under them. It's under their lordships. It's not under anyone else. So be peaceful. Be happy. If after so much chanting, so much reading, so much nice association given by